Good day, classmates. Good day, ma'am. I am VN Limas from Base HM3B, and today I am going to report Chapter 7, Laws Regulating Transportation Establishments. So, our learning objectives: identify the laws affecting the transportation sector, identify the rights of passengers of commercial transportation, and explain the relevance of these laws to the promotion of tourism in the country. So, the Philippines has become one of the promising tourist destinations due to the extraordinary hospitality of the Filipinos and the diversity of the tourist attraction in the country. So, however, one challenging aspect of the promoting inbound tourism in the Philippines is the security and safety issue. Law on Common Carriers. So, the primary law that governs common carriers is the Civil Code of the Philippines, as clearly implied from the Article 1766 thereof, which states that in all matters not regulated by this code, the rights and obligations of common carriers shall be governed by the Code of Commerce and special laws. So, the law. Article 1732. Common carriers are persons, corporations, firms of association engaged in the business of carrying or transporting passengers of goods or both by land, water, or air for compensation, offering their services to the public. So, discussion of the law. So, a common carriers is defined as one holding itself to the public as engaged in the transportation of freight of passenger for hire. It is one who is in the business of transporting goods or persons for hire as a public utility. So it means both the Civil Code and Code of Commerce give clear-cut divisions between contracts of carriage of and passengers because the rights and defenses in each kind of contracts are different from other. So we have nature of contract of carriage. So a contract to transport passengers is quite different in kind and degree from any other contractual relation, and this is because of the relation which an air carrier sustains with public. So it invites people to avail the comforts and disadvantages it offers. So the contract of carriage, therefore, generates a relation attended with a public duty. Responsibility of common carriers. So the law. Article 1733. Common carriers from the nature of their business and for reason of public policy are bound to observe the extraordinary diligence in the vigilance over the goods and for the safety of the passengers transported by them according to all the circumstances of each case. So we have discussion of the law. So the term extraordinary diligence has been defined as the standard of care required of common carrier in the bringing safety for its passengers or goods from one place to another. So if injured or death occurs, the presumption of negligence automatically arises and the common carrier can be held liable if he fails to prove extraordinary diligence for the duration of the carriage. We have liabilities of common carriers for the acts of employees and strangers. So the law, Article 1759, common carriers are liable for the death of injuries to passengers through the negligence or willful acts of the former's employees, although such employees may have acted beyond the scope of their authority or in violation of the orders of the common carriers. So, this liability of the common carriers does not cease upon proof that they exercise the diligence of a good father of a family in the selection and supervision of their employees. So, discussion of the law. So, for a bus company, Due diligence in selection of employees is not satisfied by finding that the applicant possessed a professional driver's license. So, the employer should also examine the applicant for his qualifications, experience, and record of service. So, due diligence in supervision requires the formulation of rules and regulations for the guidance of employees and issuance of proper instructions as well as actual implementation and monitoring of consistent compliance with the rules. Enforcement of liability of common carriers. So, the liability of common carriers can be enforced on the following causes of action. So, first we have in case of death or injury caused to passengers. So, the victim may file a case of breach of contract of carriage or the callback contractual against the owner of the common carriers. Then, second is in case of death or injury caused to a stranger or pedestrian. So, the victim may file a criminal complaint against the driver of the common carrier for reckless imprudence resulting in homicide and damage to property. So, the victim may also file a civil suit against the common carrier and its driver on the ground of culpa aquiliana or quasi-delict. The law. Nature of airline, bus, and shipping tickets. So, the best evidence of a contract of carriage is the passage ticket. So, under our jurisprudence, an airline, bus, or shipping ticket is a contract of adhesion, considering that all the provisions thereof are prepared and drafted only by the carrier. So, discussion of the law. So, such provisions have been held to be part of the contract of carriage, valid and binding upon the passenger regardless of the latter's lack of knowledge or assent to the regulation. So, even if the conditions are printed in small letters, does not make ticket or bill invalid. Regulation of the transportation business. So, the Department of Transportation and Communications, or DOTC, is the primary policy, planning, programming, regulating, and administrative entity of the executive branch of government in the promotion, development, and regulation of the dependable and coordinated network of transportation and communication system. Then we have regulation of air transportation business. So, Legislative Act number 3909 passed by the Philippine Legislature on November 20, 1931 created an office under the Department of Commerce and Communication to handle aviation matters, particularly the enforcement of rules and regulations governing commercial aviation as well as private flying. Registration of aircraft. So, the law. Only aircraft owned by or leased to a citizen or citizens of the Philippines and which are not registered under the laws of any foreign country may be eligible for registration. So, discussion of the law. So, the certificate of registration is conclusive evidence of ownership except in a proceeding where such ownership is in issue or when the aircraft is only under lease. Authority to operate. So, no franchise, certificate, or any other form authorization awarded by Marina for the carriage of cargo or passenger, or both in the domestic trade, shall be granted except to domestic ship owners or operators. So, by reason of the deregulation of the domestic shipping industry as mandated by Republic Act number 9295 and to encourage investments in the domestic shipping industry, domestic ship operators are now authorized to establish their own shipping rates provided that effective competition is fostered and public interest is served. Then we have the regulation of the land transportation. So the concept of land transportation system in the Philippines started when our ancestors invented means of locomotion. So these early means of transportation used were animals in moving people and goods from place to place. So today it is the Land Transportation Office or LTO and the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB, which are the agencies involved in the regulation of the land transportation industry. Standard requirements for tourist band transport vehicles. So to be registrable, so every tourist transport must be found roadworthy upon inspection by a team from DOT. So in the case of bus or coaster, it shall not be more than 10 years reckoned from the year of manufacture. Then for tourist car, it shall not be more than 5 years reckoned from the year of manufacture. Then the tourist luxury cars shall have a maximum allowance age of 10 years. Then lastly, so every tourist transport shall provide an adequate garage and repair shop for the maintenance of its equipment, as well as a parking space sufficient to accommodate all its registered units. Standard requirements for tourist water transport vessels. So there should be at least one restroom, each with toilet and washing facilities for male and female located at the passenger accommodation area. So our receptionist should be available to usher in guests. Then there should be a refreshment area which should be well stocked at all times. Then standard requirement for tourist air transport. So adequate life-saving devices and adequate communication requirements should be provided in accordance with the requirements prescribed by the Air Transportation Office. Seatbelt Law. So the law. The seatbelt law was enacted to secure and safeguard its citizenry, particularly the passengers and drivers of private and public motor vehicles, from the ruinous and extremely injurious effect of vehicular accidents. So, in order to secure the safety of the passengers and drivers at all times, so the mandatory enforcement of the use of seatbelt devices by the drivers and front seat passengers of private and public motor vehicles shall be enforced. So the discussion of the law. So first, the driver and front seat passengers of a public vehicle are required to wear or use their seatbelt devices while inside the vehicle of running engine or any road or thoroughfare. Then second, infants and or children age 6 years below shall be prohibited to sit in the front seat of any running motor vehicle. Then third, it shall be unlawful for any person to import or cause the importation of any vehicle without appropriate and operational seatbelt devices. Then last is for new vehicles, compliance is required for registration. So failure to comply shall disallow the registration or renewal of the registration of vehicle at the LTO. Law on Transportation of Animals. So the law. By the virtue of Republic Act 8485, also known as the Animal Welfare Act of 1998, it shall be the duty of any operator of any land, air, or water public utility transporting pets, wildlife, and all other animals to provide in all cases adequate, clean, and sanitary facilitator for the safe convenience and delivery thereof to their consignee at the place of the confinement. Law on Importation of Vehicles. So Republic Act 7227 allows the free flow of goods and capital within the Subic Bay Free Port in Subic, province of Zambales, in order to attract investors to invest their capital in a business climate with the least government intervention. So, President Arroyo's Executive Order 156 prohibits the importation of used motor vehicles into the country except, first, on territories that are declared free port zones such as the Subic Bay Free Port in Subic, province of Zambales by virtue of Republic Act number 7227. And second is if the vehicle is owned by a returning residents or immigrant. Third, if the vehicle is for the use of an official of the diplomatic corps. And the last is if the vehicle falls under the category of special purpose vehicles. Accreditation of Kalesa drivers. So, a resident Filipino citizen who is at least 18 years of age, physically and mentally fit, and good moral character may apply for accreditation as Kalesa driver. So that's all on my report about Chapter 7, Laws Regulating Transportation Establishment. So I hope that you've learned something. Thank you for listening and God bless.